Hey, everybody, in this episode of the GH Report, it's your worst nightmare. I'm all alone. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, everybody. With that song, you know it means only one thing. It is Sunday, and it is time for the GH Report. Look at that right here on AfterBuzz TV, breaking down all the latest happenings there in Port Charles. I'm all by myself today. I'm Frank Moran. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. You know, I've got two cameras to go between, and I feel like I could just do this, only to keep Alexa in the booth on her toes, away from her mac and cheese.
That's fine. I'm completely on top of it.
All right. There we go. James Lott Jr., of course, is on his big world tour. He's, journeying all around this country, signing autographs. He's got his books. He's got his songs. He's got people to see, pictures to be taken, autographs to hand out, maybe headshots of his as well. So find him. He's doing some Hardy stuff as well. So be on the lookout for him on social media there, where all James Lott Jr.'s are sold. You can find him there to see where he's going to be mostly in the East. So find him over there, hook up with him, get a picture with him, get a hug. Gives great hugs. Alexis can attest to that as well. Yes. And Lucretia Lyons, she's on assignment, so it is just me, folks. Real quick, right over to this camera. Why not? There we go. And I'll come back to this one, because why not? I like this one a little bit better. Am I sure?
Yay.
There we go. No.
I missed it. No.
So yes, it is just you folks, the lovely viewers, and myself. So as always, folks, you can like us on Facebook. We're never going to make 2,000 likes. I have nobody to dispute me on that claim. It's never going to happen, folks.
I will dispute.
Will you dispute?
2,000 likes. It's happening.
Remember, it's been like a year and a half since Ladine last graced us with her presence.
Shh, it'll happen. You shush.
No, it's never going to happen. But you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us the thumbs up on there as well. And feel free to hop in the chat. I know that the chat is up and running, so feel free to share your thoughts about the show in general or anything that's been happening lately in these episodes. And we'll jump right into it. So we'll go off. As we started at the beginning of the week there, we had just come down from the highs of the nurses' ball there. We got to see what Chimera was finally. We got the big, huge drama with Jake, if he's going to be pulling it. We got to see Valentine get shot trying to protect Nina after she got held at gunpoint. And now we start off the week there where, Jake is home. He's exhausted from the ordeal, but Jason and Elizabeth have a moment just touching base. And then we also have Laura and Elizabeth having a little chat as well too, trying to reassure Elizabeth that there's no way. How could she have known that this would be some kind of weird scheme that Helena would have cooked up after her death to send Chimera to Jake, who had been kind of mentally conditioned to perform a magic trick in front of a huge audience at a nurse's ball. Which again, as a reminder, everybody from last week. About 35 people. That was it max. You're going to get about 35 people in that nurse's ball tops that would have been affected by Chimera. But that's beside the point. Jake had to resist that conditioning, and it was all due to Elizabeth's fine work with Jake that was able to stop that. But which was nice this week is we realized that, Elizabeth has more than just one son. We know she's got three, but we very rarely see the other two. Mostly the focus has been on Jake a lot. So we get to see Cameron back, which was nice. And what do is we get to take your son to work day because he his after school activities are kind of not happening. So he gets to go to work with Elizabeth there at the hospital. But we also get somebody else coming back to on the campus as well, and that's our beloved Spencer. He comes back as well to visit Laura. Is so excited because he's been basically banished. Although we know the real actor's been busy doing many other projects as well, but. And certainly with Nicholas not on the canvas right now, there's a hard reason to justify why Spencer would still be around. So they sent him off to boarding school under the guise of keeping him safe from Valentine. But now he's decided to come back to pay a visit to kind of get his revenge on Valentine as well. And being Spencer, he's kind of tricked his way out of boarding school over there in France, made his way back to the States. Laura is a mixture of both angry and excited to see him. And it's nice to have Spencer back. He does... although Spencer, for me, rides that fine line. Sometimes he can be great, but some of his antics can really get a little tiresome. And so he was really riding that line, sometimes tipping over to just being kind of the annoying version of Spencer, and sometimes being that nice Spencer that when he rides that fine line that he makes it enjoyable to watch. But we get to see him have to go to work with Laura as well too, because she's not letting him out of his sight. And he and Cameron, of course, when it comes to Emma, Robin's daughter and his granddaughter, there's always a little contention between the two of them about who has Emma's eye, so to speak. So they're already back picking up where they left off there in the hospital. But we also get to see Hayden, who is also pregnant, using this as an opportunity to, hey, you know what? Why don't I watch these kids so you don't have to worry about them being at the hospital? And in fact, it gives me a chance to kind of practice motherhood. She doesn't tell Laura Elizabeth that, but we all know that's her reasoning for wanting to hang out with kids, just to see what it'd be like to be a mother. It's kind of like a little training wheels for that. And it goes as you would expect, especially if you've got Cameron and Spencer, and then you go over to Perks and you add caffeine to the mix. It goes horribly wrong. So, Hayden is already regretting about, hey, can I be a mother? Can I do this? And there was a nice little moment. I did like the moment between Laura and Hayden, where she just basically breaks down and says, kind of confesses to Laura that she is pregnant, and how if she can't manage two young boys, how can she possibly be a parent? Which I think is pretty much common to any adult when they're kind of when the impending motherhood is coming and approaching them. They're kind of questioning, can I do this? For somebody that's been just an adult, been kind of selfish, have had my struggles and trying to become a better person. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be responsible for another person. So I did like that moment. It was a nice little bit between the two of them, which then ties us over to Finn. Finn as well. We get a little. What I liked about, I will say, I did like the Hayden and Finn scenes this week, because they started. I like when they're actually working together. Finn, of course, has been found out that his third test has turned out positive, so now he's on suspension from GH. And I was so thankful that he and Hayden have got to this point where they're not being secretive about things that are happening. They're being honest and forthright about what's happening, especially in regards to Finn's suspension. I feel like a little bit ago they would have played the trick where Finn was not going to tell Hayden what the real deal was. He was going to pretend that he was still at work, or he's going to come up with some excuse that Hayden wouldn't really know the real deal. But now that they've kind of got this new status quo, and especially with the introduction of a baby and this commitment to each other, I do like that they're being just upfront and straightforward with each other. So it was nice to see them put their heads together to figure out, other than Brad, who they thought was the primary suspect as the one tampering with Finn's results, who else could it be? And just Finn saying, well, Obrecht hates me, but that'd be too obvious. And Hayden realizing, well, you know what? It's so obvious, that's why people wouldn't suspect her. So I do like that they're figuring out, yep, it's Obrecht, and now we got to find a way to nail her. So I'm excited about that. This is the first time where I've been kind of excited about this whole storyline, because it's been, at least the two of them are working together, and now they have an opponent. And first it was Brad, at least this is one time with the GH misdirect had me, because usually the most obvious setup that they do is what they end up going towards. So it was nice that they did the little reveal where, you know what, it really wasn't Brad, it was Obrecht the whole time. So I do like them kind of going head to head against Obrecht, but I also like, hey, let's just get to the point right now where we can finally put behind this whole drug addiction, whatever the deal is, and let's just move on to whatever the next chapter, the next adventure that we got in store for Hayden and Finn. So that's what I'm looking forward to with those characters. And Obrecht, I don't know what that means for her in terms of the hospital. Certainly, it seems at least the very least like a suspension. But as much as it's been kind of irritating with Finn and her just like the blinders that she has on for Finn, hopefully she does, Obrecht, I can't completely say get out of here, because anytime that she has a scene with Nathan, it's great to see that kind of side of Obrecht to come out, the softer, the maternal side of her. But in the workplace where she's just so obstinate against Finn, that does get a little irritating, because I feel like it's just hitting that same note over and over and over again. So if they can kind of compromise and just finally get past this kind of hatred that she has towards Finn, and just whatever the new status quo is going to be, keep her still on the canvas, have her be there so that Nathan has somebody to interact with. But let's move on, please, for Hayden and Finn's sake. Let's just move on to something else. Speaking of Nathan, though, let's be thankful that there was no follow-ups on Amy and and Man Landers. I don't want to see any more of that storyline. I'm glad they put that on rest for this week. I dread to see when it pops up back up again, to see where we're going to pick this up. I am praying, as we talked about in the last episode, that it is not going to be with Nathan trying to impersonate and pretend to be Manlander's foursome editor. Please, let's not have that happen. I do not want to see any scenes where Amy is begging Nathan to just go in and have this meeting on her behalf. I do not want to see that. There's got to be something better you can do with Nathan. So please, I'm just throwing that out right now without even seeing any whatever is in store for us next week on GH. Please, no Manlander story. The other, I guess, the biggest storyline this whole entire week, though, we got the chat up here. So why don't we take a look here at some of these sweet chats here? I keep seeing the scroll kind of going up there as I'm just monologuing here. We got Kelly from BTI. Look at that. She just says yes, Frank. So Kelly, thank you. I appreciate that. And we've got some people, as I was just about to mention, I was going to talk about the Ava, Sunny, Carly dynamic there. And we do have some people on Team Ava there. Yes, we've got Natasha Jones. Hope I'm saying that. Yep, she's on Team Ava. And
Nikisha Jones.
Nikisha.
It's hard to see.
It's hard to see. And I'm blind.
Yeah, and
guys.
Daisy Flower 40 says I will take Carly over Ava.
Oh, look at that. It's this stuff that they're doing with Ava. It's as we talked about a little bit last week too. It's like I don't know where they're going to be taking this character. She already flatlined once this week, where Kiki gets to watch what's happens as they resuscitate her. But as Griffin tells her that this is going to be years and years of painful surgeries that are going to all be risky in their own way to be able to kind of give her some semblance of her previous life. And the way that the bandages and everything are set up there, that it definitely feels like there's got to be some scarring. So whether it's going to be some extensive makeup for Maura West for a while, because I don't think they would, because it's on so much of her face. The bandages are covering up so much of her face. I can't imagine that it's going to be not on her face and like do one of the things where it's just like on part of her shoulders or something, and then it's just always covered up by clothing, so you never really see it anyway. So you get to see it for one day. They cover it up with clothing, and then Maura West just gets to continue just to do her own thing, and you can just name check those scars, but you never have to actually see them. I feel like with that much of her face covered up, you got to see some scarring on the face if you're going to pay this off. So, which means like if Griffin is already saying years of these kind of surgeries, then are we just going to be seeing years of Maura West kind of having a significant amount of scarring on her face that will kind of reduce throughout her time on the show? I guess we have that. And there's also been talk about like a possible Griffin and Ava romance. So we'll see that if that's going to be the case there. But it all starts off there with Sunny, as we ended up last week. And this seems to be a really hot button topic there for a lot of our viewers and a lot of you fans of GH. Just were you on Team Sunny, Team Ava? As we're talking about in the chat, there's other people there that, coming out on both sides of the issue there. Sunny, it's probably not been one of Sunny's finest moments to just go in while somebody's there on death's door and just basically like basically hey, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna let you hear it and let you suffer. And for Ava to just basically ask Sunny just to that's it, just kill me, let it go. It's there definitely there are no winners. There are no winners in the sense this week. I mean, not everybody's not been operating on the highest of care, the highest level of empathy towards this. Carly probably has. She's still angry about everything, but at least she's realizing that yes, I mean, for as much as Ava has some responsibility or has some kind of tie-in to what happened with Morgan, she is also a mother that does have two daughters, especially one with Kiki, who. Has grown up with her for her whole life and knows her very well. I mean, you still have Avery, but she's still a young child. So, I mean, but with Kiki, it's been somebody that's been there the entire time. And so Carly is very cognizant of what Kiki's going through, but still not in no way any kind of fan for Ava. And I'm just curious to see where this storyline is going to go. What are we going to be seeing? Years of rehabilitation, surgeries, a possible romance with Griffin. This would be a great time to have Nicholas come back on the show. I mean, if you're going to do this, it'd be kind of cool to see Maura West to be in some sort of a possible love triangle between, if they're going to go that route with Griffin and Ava, then you bring Nicholas along as well. That would be kind of interesting to see. I feel like it's going to be tough if the rumors of what I've been hearing about a possible Griffin-Ava romance to go from doctor-patient to then a relationship, especially with everything that Maura's going to be, or Ava's going to be having to go through. But we get to see Kiki's reactions to it, which, she's already gone to Sunny and is, not happy about what Ava's done in terms of altering Morgan's pills, not wanting her to have custody of Avery. But still, as much as you're mad about a parent, seeing them possibly die there before you've had a chance to kind of reconcile, or at least, feel like you can say what needs to be said before somebody ends up passing. You don't want to feel like anything's left unsaid. Too many times that somebody said, like, the last words I ever said to him were, "I hate you, I don't love you," something that's said out in the moment of anger that you wish you had a chance to be able to take back, apologize for, or at least have some sense of closure before somebody passes on. So could understand what Kiki's going through when you see a parent going through something like that. But if her making it through it still doesn't mean that everything's going to be a clean slate between her and Kiki. Kiki still is very angry about everything that went on. So, we'll see what happens there. And then we also have Julian, who's still struggling about what he's going to be doing now that he's at least, out on bail. He's still got a hearing that's coming up. He's decided not to take the DA's offer to be able to kind of go work for the DA and kind of try to sow some seeds about Sonny, kind of turn against him and see if he can get Sonny arrested. I'm really curious to see where they're going to be taking Julian at all this week too. I felt like when Julian called. Wanted to call up Scotty, I felt like it was going to be that he had changed his mind and was like, you know what, I am going to take this deal. I am going to go against this, but I try to help the DA and try to arrest Sonny. As much as I feel like at least that gives him some sort of purpose on the show, I will give it up at least that I like that character-wise. I can see why Julian would say no to this. After everything that he's been through, he's trying to find some way that he's not going to be beholden to anybody. He's already spent so much time under his sister's thumb, under Olivia's thumb, trying to do all this stuff, and he saw how it just destroyed not only his life, but everybody around him. So I could understand him not wanting to be under the DA's thumb and try to do something again. And who knows who's going to affect. He's certainly going to affect Sonny's life and his family. But I mean, you've got Alexis and Christina, who also have ties to Sonny, so it's also going to impact their lives as well, which then is also going to just impact any potential of a Julian and Alexis rekindling of the relationship, which I'm still not a fan of there as well. So yeah, I guess I don't know what purpose Julian has on this show right now, other than to be just somebody there watching what's going to happen with Ava and just be there to help her through this whole rehabilitation, these whole surgeries. I don't know what else that you've got on the line for Julian. It would be great if way back before everything happened and we kind of figured out what to do with Julian. We'd always talked about him focusing more on his business enterprises. And if you could get Ned more involved in the show, if you're able to bring back Jax, we'd always kind of said, like, it'd be great to see more corporate maneuvering between them and get him away from any of the mob maneuvering. So maybe that would be something they could get him more involved in, so at least he has some other reason to be involved on the show. Because otherwise, right now, once Ava kind of is back up on her feet in whatever kind of capacity that she'll be in after she gets out of the burn ward, what else is Julian going to do? It's, the scenes between him and his son. Holy cow! I mean, it was great to see. Tony and Bobby's. I just blanked on his name there, but it's great to see Ryan Carnes back on the show this week. But man, he really let Julian know in uncertain terms that he wants absolutely nothing to do with him, which would. I guess if Ryan Carnes would be on the show more, may have more of a storyline to see how Julian can kind of try to get his way back into his son's life and for them to kind of reach some kind of sort of understanding. But Ryan Carnes has been so busy and he's been on the show so infrequently that I don't know that's not really going to be a storyline to really that they could follow as well. And plus, if you're going to bring Ryan Carnes back, it was great to have that moment with Julian, but it would be great to see him with Brad. And we've had no follow-up with Brad being so obsessed with his condo that he's not getting now because of everything that's happened with the with the stuff that went down with Brad and Finn kind of feeling like Brad feeling that Finn cut him out of the whole deal with the patent. So we never got to see any follow-up with that. And we see kind of Brad basically in hot water because Olbricht's really been the one that's been screwing with Finn's tests, and we've never had really any follow up with that. So please give us some Brad, and give us some Brad scenes. I want to see them. Let's see these guys, Brad and Lucas. I want to see them together. Let's do this. But let's see if Ryan Carnes will come back. I'd love to see him back on the show a little bit more. We'll see what his scheduling is like. Speaking of family, though, as I take a little sip of water here, let's jump into, excuse me, one of the storylines I did not really enjoy this week, and that is Curtis, Jordan, and Aunt Stella. So we finally, for the longest time, it's been this long tease between Curtis and Jordan. Are they or aren't they? We've had Andre Maddox there in the middle. Between them, there's been that animosity between them, especially when Curtis first came on, because there's that history that they've had together. They've been partners. She's, of course, he's TJ's uncle. So there's been the sense of history between them. But finally, we get to a place where they are now together as a couple. And fantastic. So they hook up. They have a little afternoon delight. It's fantastic. You get to this point where like, all right, yes, this is what we want to see. Now let's see what the next thing is. And who comes in next? Though, is once Jordan leaves, though, is Curtis's Aunt Stella. And while I'm always happy to see, especially because African-American characters on the shows, it's always great to see more of them on the show, building out their families, getting to see that as well. We introduced Aunt Stella, and she is bringing in her whole big bag of hatred for Jordan, for everything that went down between Jordan and TJ's dad and what happened to him, and blaming Jordan for everything that happened. And so we just get to see, basically it just sets up that Jordan conveniently leaves. Curtis is just hanging out. Here's a knock on the door. It's Aunt Stella. And I did like the scenes between Curtis and Aunt Stella. Initially, when they first came in, just touching bases and seeing how they are, reconnecting. That was really nice. And then even though it mentions the TJ, just like, hey, it'd be great to call TJ. Why don't you give him a call? And then we find out that the reason that she's kind of reluctant to call TJ is because she doesn't know what Jordan said to TJ about her. And that just basically opens up the door then for just a lot of Jordan bashing from Aunt Stella. And so, I mean, from a character place, certainly, who might argue with her point of view about everything that happened? It's just, for me, it's like we have struggled for so long to see them, get together as a couple. Through a variety of different either relationship obstacles, personal dynamics between the two of them, that they finally just got all past that for years to finally get together now. And then the next thing that we introduce to them, as well as we expand their family, is just another person to come in and just start raining on the Jordan Curtis parade. I'm like, oh man, it's like I'm all up for it bringing more family, but have the family come in with something else other than just dealing what we've just focusing on what we've been hopefully just done with over the past couple of years. We've gotten to the point where they're together now. They're just enjoying each other. Why do we have to bring somebody in that's just going to basically start driving wedges in between the two of them again? Can we? I mean, a family member could come in with some kind of other issue that either Jordan and Kurt's got to collaborate on or something. But it just felt like I personally did not enjoy just all the scenes of Aunt Stella and Jordan just, there at Curtis's for his birthday, just kind of sniping at each other. I mean, Jordan not so much at Stella, but Stella just at Jordan. And so I don't know how long Aunt Stella is going to be around, but I'm all for having Aunt Stella on the canvas, but just not with all the Jordan bashing. Give her something else to do on the show, because this episode or two that she was on this past week was just, I'm done. I'm done with the Jordan bashing. I can understand from a character point of view, but man, let's just move on and do something else with these two characters. Now that we've got them together, I don't want the next step in the storyline to just be focusing again on their past and all the problems that they've had to overcome to get to where they're at now. Let's do something new. So that's my take on Aunt Stella. Let's give Aunt Stella something new to be all about, and I'd be down with it. But if it's going to be Jordan bashing, then I'm good with saying, Aunt Stella, maybe you need to head back home, and Curtis will give you a call on the holidays. We'll touch base with you then. The other storyline we've got, of course, is we got Sonny. Sonny and Carly dealing with the Ava stuff. But also, once he leaves the hospital, he comes and visits Jason. And it's kind of nice to... I mean, we've all talked about here on the show, too, where we feel like the connection between Jason and Sonny now is not the same without, Steve Burton's connection with Maurice Bernard doesn't play as well as it does currently right now with this iteration of Jason and Sonny. But still, what's always nice to see, at least regardless of actors, character-wise, always nice to see the two of them kind of together, just kind of touching base. I feel like, that as much as we've always kind of lamented, and I don't know how people on the chat feel exactly about, do they like the Jason-Sonny dynamic? Do they wish that when, it went from Jake Doe to Jason Morgan to have more of the memories of Jason Quartermaine being involved? Would people have liked that kind of status quo to have Jason more involved with the Quartermaines this go around? Still have connections to Carly and Sonny, and of course he's always going to be connected to them given his past, but still be able to also bring in a lot more of the Quartermaine side just to give Jason some different dynamics for his character. I don't know exactly how everybody in the chat feels about that, but right now we've got a little Sonny and Jason moment, just touching base to feel out, how do we handle the whole thing with Morgan? How do we process that? Do we have some sort of, does this resolution kind of close this chapter? Can we finally put everything in the past now and try to move on and see what life is going to be like? Now that we know, they're pinning everything on Ava. But for better or for worse, that's how they're deciding to deal with it. As much as they may name check about a lot of the other factors that go in, the main focus is that they're all just really hanging a lamp there on Ava. That was just a part of a lot of other factors that contributed to what happened to Morgan that evening. But this is what the writers have chosen to focus on, at least kind of hanging a lantern on that. So we do get to see them kind of talking about that. And it was, I'll take a nice little quieter moment, as the two of them sit there and they'll do a little drinking, they'll do a little talking, they'll talk a little bit of life. The kind of nice scenes. I still don't feel like I'm getting the old Sonny and Jason dynamic. I feel like this version of Jason just works much better with the Quartermaine side of things than the Sonny and Carly side. But that's just my take on that. We also get to see, in addition to a nice little scene between Sonny and Jason, we also get to see another scene between Jason and Carly. And I feel like ever since Jake Doe Jake Doe had more scenes with Carly than Jason Morgan has had scenes with Carly. It would be long stretches before the two of them kind of reconnect. And when Carly comes over and says needs to talk to Jason, and Jason's like, "Yep, I'm thankful for the distraction because of everything that went down." I always do kind of like the moment where Carly realizes, like, you know what? It's not all about me. Other people have lives and problems and issues as well. So at least I like that moment where when Jason tells her just a little bit about Jake, that she does have that moment of like, oh my gosh, all right, yep, other people have got something going on as well too. So I'd like at least that moment of acknowledgement that, yep, Jason's my best friend. He's had some issues going on, even though he's not really going to go into in detail about them with me. I will take that moment to acknowledge, oh my gosh, yep, Jake's had some rough goes, but they're past it and they're moving on. So we had a nice little Jason and Carly scene. So and I'm curious, it's just like, all right, well, we're gonna go like I know a whole my feelings here about this. So we've got Jason, we've got Sam, we've got Carly, we've got Sonny. We've got the various family members there on Sonny and Carly's side as well, and yeah, it's just for as much as we kind of figure out like what's going to be going on with Jason and Sam, what's happening with Jason and Sam, and for the longest time, And so now they've gone everything to the, they're having the baby. Sam being thrown over the side of the bridge by Olivia, going into labor, Jason coming down to deliver the baby. And now we're kind of, what happens next? And so we were able to give Jason something to do because we had the whole stuff with Jake finally kind of come to the surface. It'd been a really slow burn for all of that. And I think that is the last of Helena's will. Feel free in the chat to correct me if I'm wrong if there's anything else from Helena's will. But I think the Jake stuff was the last because, well, the Nicholas stuff never really kind of reached fruition because Tyler Christopher is not on the show currently. So the stuff with him, that's still on the sideline too because it was the idea of like the painting kind of alluding that he poisoned Helena. But we never really kind of dealt with any of that. So other than that, though, we've dealt with the Sam stuff. We've dealt with the Jake stuff, and we've dealt with the Laura and Lulu stuff. So I think that's it. So feel free if I'm missing anything else there about that. But so now after Jason Jason and Elizabeth, and they get through this whole stuff with Jake, they're at the nurse's ball. Now what's the next step for Jason and Sam, and how does that fit in? Does it fit in more with Carly and Sonny? Do they kind of just basically just kind of support them? I'd love to see some more cases. Just imagine like that last case with everything with Olivia. There is such a great friendship being built between Curtis and Jason that after that got all resolved, they really haven't had any scenes together since. So it's a shame to see them not being maybe deciding to make this like an official thing where they're going to be all private investigators, work all together, do something to kind of really solidify this because I feel like that dynamic is great and it would be cool to see more of that. It'd give Curtis something to do that isn't necessarily Jordan specific, and we don't have to worry about all of Curtis's scenes being just a reflection of Jordan's issues. Jordan's got the PCPD. He's got many other cases that she can at least be tied to be working on. But at least right now, all of Curtis's stuff is just in relation to his relationship with Jordan. So let's get him back there with Jason and Sam working on some cases to see more of the dynamic that fans clearly responded to. And the writers have to see how enjoyable the dynamic between Jason and Curtis was. So let's see more of that. But in the meantime, we've got Jason kind of floundering around without really a sense of direction right now. And so now they've given Sam something. She and Alexis have a little time there at Perks where they bring out the granddaughter and they bring out Scout. And Sam is like any new mother is going to be kind of very exhausted, very tired. You don't only just have a newborn, but you also have another, like a 3 or 4 or 5 year old child as well. So juggling 2 kids can be very exhausting. So Alexis says, "Hey, you know what? Let me watch the kid. You go to a spa, get relaxed." And so then we get to see some scenes with Sam at the spa, getting a start of the massage, but then hearing voices in her head. It's like warning her off, just like, things aren't going to work out well. And so much so that she just gives up on the massage. So that's it. I got to go. This is not working for me. And she's done. So I don't know what this is in terms of what for Sam's storyline. I feel like this is like the kernel to something. I don't know what it's going to be. I will admit right now, not excited about just what it is right now. Whatever this is, it's not exciting me. And I could be wrong. I could be eating my own words in a few weeks, or given GH's sometimes their storytelling rate, it could be several months before I may say, you know what, I was wrong. It started off kind of kooky, but this storyline is actually really good. I actually would surprise myself if I said something about a Sam-related storyline. I feel like, you know what, yes, this was a great Sam storyline. Because, so far, this one is not, at least the initial kernels of this, not intriguing me whatsoever. In terms of other storylines this week too, of course we've got the other big storyline was we've got Lulu and Dante, and of course we got Valentine. You fold in Valentine, you fold in Anna, Charlotte, and Nina as well. And at the end of the last episode, we know that Valentine had kind of taken away Charlotte. find out once Lulu said, hey, you know what, Anna's coming to arrest you for everything that had to do with Chimera. You're going to be arrested for treason. Valentine panics, takes Charlotte, and heads off to Niagara Falls with the idea that he wants to cross the border, get into Canada, and from there he could just disappear with Charlotte and never be found again. And I do like already, we talked about it last week, there were the nurses' ball, but Emmy Ryland and her pregnancy, I feel like right now at this point, the show is like giving up trying to like, we're not even going to try to pretend anymore that she's not pregnant. We're just going to just have her just be who she is. And in a way, I'm just fine with it. I'm willing to know like, hey, you know what? While Lulu, the character, is not pregnant, we know the actress is. I would rather just like, all right, guys, we're just going to just let her just do her thing and, just trust the audience to realize like, you know what? Yes, we understand. We know she's not pregnant in terms of the show. So even though she's pregnant in real life, we will just suspend our disbelief and pretend that this is just the regular Lulu that is all along, that is not without child, and just have her kind of do her thing. So we get to see some scenes with her and Anna trying to figure out like, oh my gosh, where could have Valentine took her? And we get to see Lulu say, you know what, there's a phone in case of emergencies, calls up. We could have a little conversation with Lulu and Charlotte. And then they also touch base with Nina as well. Nathan and Nina talk and say, you know what, we need your help to be able to find out where Valentine's taking this. And I can understand Nina's reluctance because, I mean, they pretty much were kind of like on the outs. And then the nurses' ball brought them back together. And then everything that happened with Chimera just kind of blew up in their faces. So that kind of just very tentative reconnection just kind of gets split apart with Valentine taking off with Charlotte. And Nina's been a very big proponent in everything that's been happening since Lulu found out that Charlotte was really her daughter. Is that Nina's been the biggest one about like whatever's best for Charlotte up front. She's, which I've liked about the character. She's been really putting Charlotte up front. So when Lulu says, you know what, this isn't about me having custody over Valentine. This is just what's in best interest for Charlotte. And living a life on the run is not in the best interest of that. Always, being trying to keep one step ahead of any sort of authorities chasing you. Never be able to settle down, have any sort of roots, any connections, any kind of semblance of a life. So I can see why Nina decides, hey, I will tell you guys that they're at Niagara Falls because we were planning on taking her there in the summer. So I as always, of course, Port Charles in Upper New York, so not too far away from Niagara Falls. But I'd love again an example of travel in a soap opera can be as long or as short as whatever the writers decided it needs to be. So you can be Franco, being in Port Charles, and by the end of the episode, you are already in Greece to meet up with Jason. I love how fast that can happen. It can also just be from one scene where they're saying, hey, you know what? Valentine's up in Niagara Falls with Charlotte. Cut to, hey, guess what? When that door knocks there at the cabin that Valentine's staying at, when it should be the person that he's expecting to deliver a car so he and Charlotte can cross the border, guess what? It's already Anna, Dante, and Lulu ready there to get him. So sure enough, they arrive there at Niagara Falls. Dante and Lulu, they extract Charlotte there for a moment. And then they have Anna and Valentine. And they struggle. And this is an interesting moment there where as they're struggling, the gun fires that Valentine pulls on Anna, and it shoots the mirror. And we get to see Valentine looking at his reflection there in the mirror. And kind of basically giving him a memory of the way he used to look before all the plastic surgery that he had. This kind of disfigured sort of hunchback man. And that's enough to basically put his attempt of kind of fleeing, by gunpoint away with Charlotte to parts unknown. And the whole introduction of Alex into this whole dynamic of Anna and Valentine is interesting because Anna is incredibly sympathetic to this, to Valentine and the situation that he's in, knows that her sister played him based on his feelings that he had towards Anna. And so I can understand why she feels terrible that she's got to bring him in because he was basically just, he was almost a fall guy for this whole thing. And even Valentine says, it's like, I hope none of your secrets ever come up because, what I liked, there was no malice behind that too. It was just like, he knows that just everything that he's done, how it's going to affect his life once everything kind of his past catches up to him. Without any sense of malice, like, you know what, I'm going to make sure I bring everything you ever done to light to make sure you feel as bad as I do. Basically, just having that moment, like, I hope you never have to feel as bad as I do because this is no way to live. So I like that moment between the two of them. And then I also like the scenes between Nina and Valentine. And Nina coming in and confessing, I told them where you were because I wanted, you know, Charlotte to be put first. I was worried about her safety. And very much a kind of a reflection of the last time they were together there in the PCPD was when Valentine was first introduced in the show and he tried to kidnap Spencer, was arrested, and then he and Nina had a conversation inside there the last time that they saw each other. So it was a kind of nice kind of bringing it back to that same kind of situation with also all that love and relationship turmoil that they've been through in between those two moments. She wants to be free of Valentine, so that, you know, just letting him know up front, like, you know, you, whatever happens, you may get out, but, you know, I'm not going to be here waiting for you. I want to be free. I know I got a tweet this week saying, hey, you know what, Carly and Sonny by the end of the week are getting back together. And then we have Nina and Valentine splitting apart. Is that the case? And I don't think the story is over for sure. I don't believe the story is over between Nina and Valentine by a long shot. I will admit, though, when I saw Valentine in custody before Alex showed up, that I started thinking, man, is it going to be like a little Paul Hornsby situation? Do we just bring James Patrick Stewart in for this? And are we setting it up to such a way where now we're going to see him convicted for treason, and he's going to be in The Hague, and we're just going to, that's how we're going to write him off the show for at least some extended period of time. And I feel like now with the introduction of Alex, that's not going to be the case, which I'm excited about, because if you get James Patrick Stewart and playing a really great version of a Cassadine, you do what you can to keep him on the canvas, because that is an important part of the show, is the Cassadine family. So you want the Cassadines involved and somehow. So it looks like that they're going to be setting it where he's still going to have some kind of wiggle room, because as Alex comes in and sneaks in, which I do I do like, though, that they find out that Alex is Anna says, yeah, hey, what do you mean that Alex has gotten away from the WSB? And as soon as she's on the phone hearing about that, who happens to be coming into the PCBD but Alex, which I do like that Valentine knew right away. You know, like, yep, now that I know that there's two of you, I know exactly how to spot the difference between Alex and Anna. So knew exactly as soon as that Alex walked in, yep, I know who you are. I know what the deal is. But Alex coming there to say, you know what, if I don't say anything about you and you don't say anything about me, there's no way that they have enough information to do anything about either of us. So it seems like now that Valentine can just not say anything and hopefully be able to get away, because there's nobody there to be able to cooperate the story. So that may be a way for Valentine to get out, because I don't want to see, as much as Valentine has kind of won me over. I mean, I still always kind of find it difficult the way that it came on, as we've talked about in the past about him killing Nicholas as his entry point into the show. Made it so difficult to like him initially. But now, seeing him with Charlotte, seeing him with Nina, seeing the whole Anna Alex storyline, you know, I do enjoy the character, and I think he does add a great element to the show. It would be great to see him a little bit more involved, say, with, you know, Alexis. But the fact that he killed Nicholas makes it so much tougher for him to just be able to easily have any sort of like easy relationship with Alexis. That's why I feel like it makes it difficult to see some of those kind of things that you could have had with Nicholas in the show, with his connections with Laura, with his connections with Alexis. Things that were really great elements to both those characters and to Nicholas as well. If you want to have Valentine in kind of a similar role, having those kind of connections with Lulu, with Dante, with Laura, with Alexis, you still have that whole death of Nicholas, which makes it so difficult to get around it. Because I can understand why, as a character, I can understand why Laura, Lulu, Dante, Alexis don't want anything to do with Valentine. Because, you know, for all they know, he killed Nicholas. And so none of them really care about this guy, and they don't want anything great out of him. They don't want a relationship with him. They just want him to go away. They want him to pay for what he did to Nicholas. So, I mean, the writers, still have a hard thing to do to be able to kind of get Valentine involved in other storylines. It would be it'd be great for them to at least just be able to have, even if we can't see Tyler Christopher or Nicholas, be able to have Valentine finally admit to somebody, you know what, Nicholas isn't really dead. This is all part of the deal to be able to have him escape, so he could hide out for a while. Even I would be comfortable. I would be fine if they could just name check that, because unless Tyler Christopher was coming back to the show or they're going to recast Nicholas, I mean, certainly if you're gonna call out that that's the case, you feel like that's like the opening to a larger storyline where we're going to find out where's Nicholas been this whole time, what's his deal, and you're going to see characters going out to try to find him. So, but I'd still like, even if they decided just to name check it and never do a storyline like that, I'd be fine with it, just so we could get past this hatred that Laura, Lulu, Dante, and Alexis have towards him, so we could see some different relationship dynamics. Because the little bit that we saw between Valentine and Alexis was cool. And it would be interesting to see those two actors go, kind of have some great scenes together and have a different relationship dynamic than what we saw before. It'd be cool. But with this whole necklace death thing, kind of tough to do. So, and I'm glad that we see Alex back. Because as we talked about last week, too, with the Prospect Park characters, they've, especially with Nora and now with Alex, it felt like they were just kind of brought on and not really given much to do. So it was great to see Alex back on the show. Which, I mean, in one sense, it makes it much easier because, Finola Hughes is already on the show playing one character. It's easy to just have her double up the workload as opposed to how do we also juggle in, how do we juggle in, somebody else from One Life to Live and bring them in to the show. That's just one other character, one other actor we have to fit into the whole scheme of things and still try to service all our other stories as well. So, and also I just thought that, there's one other One Life to Live veteran coming back on in a very hush-hush role. So I'll be curious to see what that role is going to be. Let's see, other storylines there. So we've got the Valentino Nina. We've got Laura, Elizabeth, Hayden, Finn, the kids. We got Spencer back. I think that might be all of our storylines. Alexis, is there any? I know you are constantly watching the show and updating.
I feel bad because I really do want to watch the show. It's just that as of right now, I don't have time. Like I already have a lot of shows that I'm watching for my shows, but like. And
you only have a wedding to the dreamiest guy in town.
Yeah, he is the dreamiest guy in town.
That's right.
But yeah, I love listening to your guys' feedback, especially since Alexis is like such a handful on the show and stuff. But like, yeah, I don't know, man. I did catch a few episodes here and there since I was sick a couple weeks ago, so I just like had the TV on and I was watching and I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but man, GH is crazy.
It is.
Especially because I don't know specifically what's going on, and then I watch a little bit of YNR and Bold and the Beautiful at work because that's the network. We air those two shows, and I'm like, I can't. I don't know how you guys keep up with all these soaps every day. You can't do it.
We do it because we love it, Alexis.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what it is. And I'm not saying I don't love it because there are episodes I'm like, ooh, no, she didn't, and like a whole thing, and I'm like yelling at my TV screen even though I'm by myself. But GH is just like, it's crazy because I know Days of Our Lives is kind of like not super great apparently right now. I haven't watched it, but that's what the hosts tell me and the fans have told me. But I heard GH, Bold and the Beautiful, are like pretty up there right now. Yeah,
Kimberly Brown came back on this last week. Yes.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I heard they were really hush-hush with that reveal, so that was cool.
I mean, they were probably like, we cannot let this out at all. Please, for the love of God, this is really going to be a surprise. Don't mess it up. But yeah, so it's really, really cool. I really want to get into it, and I probably will when my life starts to settle. But as of right now, I am sadly out of the loop.
But you know what? I don't think any less of you for that.
Oh, thanks, Frank.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
I only think more of you.
Oh, I love it.
You know what? I know Kelly, I saw there in the chat, and Kelly, our beloved Kelly from PTI, asked a phone call tonight. Alexis, could we open up the line? And we'll take one call one call to wrap up the show.
Sure, yeah.
Look at that. So look, folks, Alexis is going to open up the phone line. We'll share I'll have Alexis share the number here. Oh, look at that. It is 424-253-0749. We'll take one call to wrap up the show. Why not? Kelly from PTI asked for this. We'll see if she is the lucky one to get in here. Fingers crossed. Kelly from PTI. I know that your week's not complete unless you get a chance to, tell me how great I am. So.
I love it. No, I love it. I was like, please do it.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Apparently, me complimenting Frank is not enough.
No, well, we know that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, so I know, as I mentioned, we got some big casting news. Former One Life to Liver coming on a very super secret role. Oh, do we already have a phone call? Oh, look at that. We got a phone call.
Go ahead, say your name and where you're from.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Kelly from PTI. How are you?
Good.
Look
Hotter
at
than
the...
Hades.
Is it hot?
Oh, yeah. Hotter than it's been all along.
Wow, all right. As June gloom is settled in here into Los Angeles, so it's, today was in the mid-60s and gloomy.
Oh, it's probably high 80s here.
Oh, holy cow.
I'm on the Celsius scale, so it's a little hot here.
All right. So, what do you got to say about the show this week?
Actually, it's not too bad. All the storylines were not too bad.
All right, come on, Kelly, be honest to me. How do you feel about Aunt Stella in the Curtis and Jordan storyline?
I love that actress so much. I'm with you. It started out good, and then when she started in Jordan, I was like, "Bye, Stella."
Yes. Yeah, it's like I feel like we've been down this road so many times between the two of them. I don't want have Aunt Stella have some other thing going on in her life that we can work on instead. Just
wait till she finds out that what's his face in jail.
Oh, Sean's a real dad?
Yeah, just like she finds that out.
Yeah, there's
and she's really gonna go with it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, sorry. There's no reason Aunt Stella to be so mad, because TJ's dad is alive and well in jail.
That's gonna be a whole mess, and yeah, I'll be muting the TV when that happens.
Yeah, it was. Those scenes were tough to get through. I liked everything from her arrival with Curtis just hanging out and them chatting.
Yeah,
I thought that stuff was
I
great.
love the actress. I used to watch Fresh Prince, and I loved her on that.
She played Will Smith's mom, right?
No, aunt.
Oh, was it Aunt? Was she Aunt Viv?
She was an aunt for Will Smith. Yeah.
Okay. So I'd rather just have her have something else in her life that she needs Curtis's help with. It would be great if it was something private eye related. That would have been fantastic to get him doing something that he could call on Jason.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's work on this for my Aunt Stella.
Yeah, I want Curtis and Jason back because Curtis and Jason are a pure comic team.
Yeah, they're great, and I feel like the fans really responded to that. The writers had to realize that, and the producers. It's a shame that just ever since the whole Olivia storyline kind of ended, that we've just had nothing.
It kind of fizzled.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that the writers got to be smart. I would like to think that the writers are smart enough to realize that we need more of that. So.
Oh yeah, we need more of that. We need more comedy on that show, not just gloom and doom and shoot them.
And where do you fall on Team Carly, Team Ava? I know many of the people in the chat are falling on different sides.
I'm on the fence on that one.
Gotcha.
I'm on the fence on that one. There are times that I like one and times I like the other, and it's like when the two of them are fighting, forget it. No, mute.
I will say, though, it was great to see, anytime you can get Ken Schreiner on the show is fantastic, but I did like seeing Scotty in the hot box.
Ken Schreiner has been hilarious for over 30 years. That's how long I've been watching GH.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have an honest bone in his body.
No, that's what makes him so great. But I like seeing Dante kind of like saying, hey, you know what? Once I build a case against Ava, I'm going to build one against you.
I'm waiting to see that.
Yes.
I'm waiting. Scotty's been skirting the law for years.
The other thing, too, is that I'm disappointed because how many scenes with Lucy and Scotty do we have where they name-check Serena? Let's just have Serena come back to the show.
Yeah. I want that kid back on the show. She must be, 25?
Yes. They name-check her enough. It'd be great and give those two actors much more to do on the show, too. Let's get her back involved.
Yeah. For more to Lucy than the nurse's ball, which I love, by the way.
Yeah. Well, we'll agree to disagree on that one, but
the storylines, no. The songs, yes.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Anything to give, to give Lucy and Scotty more, Lynn Herring and Kim Schreiner more to do on the show. I would love that.
Oh yeah, those two together is like, they're two great actors that have been on the show for years too. So
yeah,
get them on. Get Finola in there.
Yes,
and we'll have three legends.
All right. Kelly from PTI, thank you so much for being my call. You look at that. I saw you in the chat. Asked for that. I'd hoped that you'd make it in, and you did it. Rapid fire fingers.
And you keep saying PTI. It's PEI.
PEI. I keep thinking. I'm sorry. I keep convisioning you with the with my favorite ESPN show, PTI. Pardon the interruption. Sorry, it's PEI. You're correct. I keep thinking PTI. My apologies.
No problem.
Prince
And I'd
Edward
like to color you up your later.
Yeah, there you go. Well, enjoy the scalding weather out there. Hopefully, you get a little cold front coming in soon.
I hope not, because it's been chilly until a couple of days ago.
Oh, all right. Well, then enjoy the heat then.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then I'm sure we'll talk to you next week.
Oh, probably. All right.
Have a great week, Kelly.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. From PEI. Alexis, what have I done? I kept calling it PTI.
I definitely thought it was PTI, but okay.
No, PTI is, my favorite show. Not, but that has nothing to do with Prince Edward Island. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? We did it. We did it. We made it to the end of another show. You know what? And I'll be honest. Before we started the show, Alexis had really she doubted it. She thought it was going to happen. She goes, "Frank, you're alone. People don't like you. This is not going to happen."
Whoa.
That was a direct quote from Alexis Torres.
It was not.
That came from out of her mouth to my ears. And you know what? I can't disagree with her. I can't.
No.
But ladies and gentlemen, that does it. We have made it. Thanks to the capable talents and fantastic abilities of Alexis Torres, we made it to the end of another GH
We did,
report.
But you were awesome. So.
No, I was not. I was
Stop
just
it.
merely here.
Stop it. Take my compliment, Frank.
All right, I'll take it and I'll just put it right in here and I'll
Yay.
save it for later. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us for the GH Report. Thanks for dealing with me this whole episode while I just kind of just rambled for this length of time. I appreciate you sticking around. Thanks everybody for hopping in the chat. But you know what? You can also like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us some thumbs up on there while you're at it too. And we can do the show without you folks and your support and your enthusiasm and your wanting to share your thoughts in the chat. So again, thank you so much for doing that. James Lott Jr., Lucretia Lyon, one of them will be back next week in this chair in the studio alongside with me. Hint, it won't be James Lott Jr. because he's touring the countryside for the rest of June. So we'll see Lucretia and I back here. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie, as well as Instagram if you like to see pictures of food, what I'm eating, something like that. Why don't you follow that? There you go. Until next time, folks, we'll see you back here next Sunday night with another edition of the GH Report right here on AfterBuzz TV. Bye, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.